Hey guys, Lamdrew here, and welcome to my video on the newest Minecraft update 1.9, the combat update. In this video I am going to attempt to show you every single change and addition to the game over the past year. Now I won't be talking about command block changes or the 300 bug fixes that have been fixed in this update. Those will be linked in the description down below. So without further ado, let's do this. As with every Minecraft update, the performance has been significantly increased, as well as the render of particles. You can now toggle the dominant hand of the player from right to left or left to right. Ta-da! Mobs also have a chance to spawn left or right-handed. Snow golems can actually be unmasked by shearing them. Ta-da! A whole bunch of new sound effects have finally been added to the game. This includes noises for squids, witches, and a whole bunch of other items and entities and all that jazz. A brand new farmable plant has been added to the game, beetroot. When harvested, you can eat the beetroot raw or turn it into soup. The hunger mechanic has been improved, so similar to that of the olden days, if your hunger is full, you'll regenerate health much faster. New statistics of time slept in a bed, sneak time, and items dropped and picked up have been added to the statistics menu. A new subtitles option has been added to those that are hard of hearing. The world menu has been updated, so now it shows the thumbnail of your last saved world, as well as the version it's been last played in. Shields have been added to the game. They are crafted like so. You can use these to block attacks and arrows. They're repaired with anvils and can be given the unbreaking enchantment. You can also place a banner on top of them. I should mention that the new offhand slot is literally a slot, which adds +1 to inventory. You can now use a shovel to pat down grass to create a path block. Do this by right clicking. You can now craft 15 different types of arrows by tipping them with a potion. Using these acts like a regular arrow with the added effect of giving the entity the potion effect. As well as the potion tipped arrow, there is also the brand new spectral arrow, which when used will give mobs an outline so you can see them through blocks. The spectral arrows are crafted like so. Dual wielding is now a thing in game. Simply press F and you can put it in your offhand. You'll still use your primary hand as your main sort of thing, but if a use is actually possible with the outside hand or your offhand, it will actually take effect. So for example, if we do this, put the stone in our offhand and a ladder, we can place both like this and just use both our hands, which is pretty nifty. You can also use this for maps, so you can have a mini map in your bottom left as you run around doing stuff. It's very nifty. Lots of potential. A brand new generated structure known as igloos have been added to the game. They are found in snow biomes. If you can find the secret hatch, you can get into the basement. There's a brand new preset for super flat worlds known as the Void. And this is what the preset looks like. Bosses' health bars will now no longer appear on top of each other, but instead simultaneously. Death messages now appear in the death menu as well as in chat now. Silk touch can no longer be put on shears, however, you can now pick up cobwebs with shears. That's a good trade-off. 2 new enchantments have been added to the game. This is Frostwalker. This allows the user to basically walk on water. And the other enchantment is Mending. This enchantment is pretty nifty. Basically whatever item the enchantment is on, if you're holding it and gather XP, the XP will repair the tool instead of going straight to you. Since this is the combat update, attributes have finally been given a major overhaul and an actual use. Armor now gives certain values depending on the material and type. Swords now have attack and damage speeds, which dictate how fast they swing and how much damage they deliver. And this is also evident on other tools and weaponry, such as the axe or the golden hoe. This makes for combat being a bit more strategic. Mobs will now display hearts depending on how much damage you do. There is also an attack indicator which basically indicates the recharge or the delay for sword use. So if you look below the crosshair, you see the sword being charged. This is basically an indication of the attack speed. As you can see, if I do this to a tree, with the iron sword it takes a while, but with the gold sword it's pretty fast. And the diamond sword, because it's a strong weapon, it's not as fast. It's still pretty good. Now, this is to combat spam clicking. However, that doesn't mean you can't spam click. It just means the attack won't be as strong. Allow me to demonstrate. So as you can see, if I spam click it, it still does damage, just very little. However, if I keep it tame, boom. Not only that, there is now a new animation for sword swinging. Now, the old-fashioned one is still in there. It's usually used for the first swing, as so, or for crits. But the second swing will be a literal swing with a little animation, and this is useful when fighting off mobs. Not mobs, but I mean like groups of mobs, because you can hit multiple targets at once, which is pretty cool, especially if you're getting double teamed. Did I mention that collecting XP no longer goes to your face, but rather your chest? So now, you're not blinded when you collect serious amounts of XP. Slight changes have been made to the Luck of the Sea and Lure enchantment, but they're not really a big deal. Stat effects will now show up in the main screen, as you can see. Fire resistance up there in the top right, invisibility, and the negative effects appear below. Pretty cool. When a status effect is about to run out, it will blink, so really useful. Saves you having to keep looking in your inventory. A new stat called Luck has been added to the game. Luck basically increases your luck, so drink up. So this can help fishing, and if you're superstitious, maybe they help you find ore. I feel like I should mention there is also bad luck in the game. However, these features aren't very complete. The hitbox of mobs and blocks have been slightly tweaked to now be more resembling of their actual features, as you can see. This includes iron bars and glass panes getting a little bit of a tweak, in the sense that they now have singular bars, which is pretty cool. There's lots of use for decorating. Large oak trees now spawn naturally again. Clerics will no longer sell eye vendors, but instead will sell ender pearls. Which makes sense, because there's no way they could kill a blaze, let's be honest. Librarians will now charge a little bit more for those useful enchantments. Although this is a bargain, jeez. New command block variations have been added to the game. The chain command block, the repeating command block. Repeat stuff, and the chain stuff. Fire has been improved to be a lot more dangerous, and now has a 50% chance of being put out when in contact with rain, which shows glimpses of the good old days where fire was infinitely spreading and something to be feared. On the flip side, those splash bottles of water that you own, well, they can extinguish fires now. Falling onto hay bales will now soften the fall. Trapdoors no longer need a supporting block, so you can just place them. pretty awesome change. To prevent enderpearl spamming, enderpearls now have a slight cooldown, indicated by an ugly graphic. You can also enderpearl in creative mode finally. I couldn't find a good example of a resource pack, but basically you can now do more fancier things, such as tools depleting. Mob AI has been improved, so now they avoid cacti and fire, apparently. Chickens can now be bred with all types of seeds. Golems now have a 100% knockback resistance, because they're so heavy. Speaking of mobs, there's been a huge improvement in terms of AI and animation. As you can see, when hostile zombies see me, they raise their arms. When they don't see me, their arms will drop. Armor stands will wobble when you hit them. Some items now have an animation in the hotbar, such as the bow. Mobs will once again, like the good old days, fight each other if they're hit. Good for you, skeletons. Skeletons are now super deadly. They're very smart. If they're on fire, they'll retreat. They'll draw back their bow. And they'll even hide behind things and stuff. They're super hard to fight now. If you actually wear a mob's head, you can be disguised as them and they won't notice you until you get really, really close. Zombie villagers will now spawn with the appropriate gear. Here's a blacksmith. Here's a regular villager. Oh no, this is a baker. This is a regular villager. A new enemy has been added to the game, known as a skeletal trap. Basically, if you see a lone horse out in the middle of nowhere, you should be wary about approaching it. Because if you do, lightning could strike and it becomes skeletal horses. 4 of them in fact, known as the horsemen, or the skeletal horse riders, or whatever you want to call them. These are basically what they look like. Strong skeletons riding skeletal horses, and if you kill them, you can actually ride the horses and tame them. They're quite dangerous though. So yeah, you can get skeletal horses in vanilla now. Endermen have had a terrifying tweak to their AI. Now, if you're being attacked, and you water them, they will remember. Boats have had a massive upgrade. Now they no longer break when they collide. There are multiple types of boats depending on what material you use. And they have rows, as in you row them. In order to row them, you simply hit W, left or right, whatever that is, to turn. And there's a bit of a tactic to it. So for me, it's pressing A and D. If you tap it at the same time, you'll go forward. Or if you just want to go one direction, you just hold one. Vice versa. It's pretty cool, and actually allows for a lot of strategy to row in a boat. So you can actually have boat races now that aren't based on environment, if you get me. It's a really awesome change, and I'll demonstrate it not destroying. Oh, it's being cheap. Boom. It just stops. So people can stop complaining. Unnamed wolves and cats will now have a death message when they die. You can also use your new boats to transfer mobs. Ta-da! He's now in the boat with me. How cool is that? Mobs can also get in the boat, a bit like a minecart. And yeah, you just travel with your wolves or whatever across the ocean. No longer need to leave them there or dig a hole for them. Pretty cool. Withers and ender dragons can no longer go through portals, so you'll have to build them Rabbits have shrunk, which makes sense because they were massive before. And I'm actually kind of curious. How big are the baby rabbits? Oh my god, that's adorable. To reference, so you guys have a bit of an understanding, a chicken is bigger than a rabbit. And once again, Enderman will now drop the block they're holding if you kill them. He doesn't want to pick up a block for me though, sadly. Small mobs such as rabbits and chickens will no longer trample cops, which is awesome. Rabbit's foot has had its chances increased ever so slightly. Wolves, when tamed, now have their red collars back again. For some reason it was orange for a little while. But yeah, lots of things reverting back to the olden days. Hostile mobs and such will no longer spawn on leaves or anything with transparency, so this includes rails and redstone. They won't spawn on it, which is awesome. However, on the flip side, they will spawn on pistons that aren't retracted, because they act like full blocks. Golden apples for the bajillionth time has been changed again! Jeez, what a roller coaster of a ride. Basically, you can no longer craft notch or god apples. Not anymore. You can still craft the regular apples, like so, but the overpowered ones, the notch ones, they shall now be crafted or found as dungeon loot, which is kind of good. I think that's how it should be. It makes them more special. But yeah, no more crafting OP apples. However, eat one and you gain another 8 hearts, so that's pretty interesting. For 2 minutes, not bad. Renaming items will always just cost 1 and will not double, which is a much appreciated change. To those brave souls who play in hardcore mode, when you die, your world will no longer be deleted, but you will become a ghost. You do also have the option to delete it if you're that true to your word. But yeah, you can spectate the world and float around. However, it won't continually generate. It just cuts off, which is a little interesting. Beacon pyramids now have different times depending on how high or low the beacon is. So the more layers you have, the longer your effect will last, basically. You can now craft a brand new brick known as endstone brick. It looks like thus. It's a very nice looking block. So in a revolutionary change, pick block will now work outside of your inventory hotbar. So if I need wood, as long as it's in my inventory, I can just grab it just like that. It's awesome. Amazing. For those of you doing a desert survival and have no wood, fear not, because shrubs will now drop sticks. If you're lucky. There you go. Doors now vary in orientation when placed, as you can see. Obviously if they're next to each other, they're gonna do the right thing. If you like your door to open against the left wall, or you want it on the right, you can do that now. Dispensers will now equip pumpkins like armor. Cauldrons can now have the water placed in them taken back out again with a bucket. Finally. Obviously it doesn't work if it's not full. You can now craft ender crystals like so. However, you can't place them on regular blocks, they can only be placed on obsidian. But there you go. They don't obviously do anything, they're mainly decoration. However, the one use they do actually have is you can use these to respawn the Ender Dragon. Speaking of the Ender Dragon, the Ender Dragon fight has been completely improved and reworked. The pillars will now spawn around a circular fashion, sort of like a little stadium. Some of the Ender crystals will now be protected by iron bars, and the Ender Dragon's AI has been improved. He now no longer just flies into you. He shoots fire breath or whatever, or dragon breath, and he can summon, as you saw there, little dragon meteor things which come down and hit you, and when they hit the ground they linger about, and this is his dragon breath, I guess. He also protects the middle bit. You have to kill him to unleash the new portal in the center of the end island. That's how you get out. The dragon egg still spawns. However, something else happens if you now kill the Ender Dragon, which I'm gonna go do. So, when you kill the Ender Dragon, not only does the middle portal light up, but also when you hit him, he has to die in the middle for some reason. I guess he wants to lay his egg, or her egg. Anywho, when he dies, or she, not just the middle portal, but another portal will spawn. So you can see there. And there it is, lit by a beacon. Now, this new portal spawns kind of randomly, and it looks kind of trippy. It's like a block of portalness. And basically, what this does, or how you get into it, because obviously you can't fit in that, you ender pearl into it, and what that'll do is send you to the outer end, or the Firelands, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, this is an entirely new area, thousands of blocks away from the actual end center. So imagine it's kind of shaped like a donut. And yeah, here you can find these chorus plants, which if you break them, fall like so. And you can get chorus fruit. And once you eat these things, they replenish your health a little bit, but they also teleport you randomly around. It's pretty nifty. Now, 4 chorus fruits, if smelted, can be used to create a new block in the game. So while this chorus fruit smelts, the chorus flower is basically the seed of the chorus plant. Over time, this thing will grow up and spread randomly and look just like this. The only way you can replant a chorus thing is by breaking this bit, or harvesting these bits. And you can only plant the chorus plant on endstone. You can't plant it anywhere else. So as you can see, now it has smelted and given us popped chorus fruit. This popped chorus fruit can be now used to craft. So here are the new blocks, called purple blocks. Not chorus blocks, purple blocks. For some reason, I guess they're purplish. More pink than purple. Anywho, they look like so. You can do slabs. You can do stairs. You can do pillars. Except they're crafted incorrectly. And voila. On the outer Firelands, you can actually travel a bit, and you should eventually find a brand new generated stronghold known as the End City. And these little dungeon things, they're pretty cool, and they have ridiculous amounts of loot. Not your regular saddles and redstone and sugar and gunpowder and record discs. No. These have some proper, real manly loot. And these end cities, I just found one, look like so. Crazy looking contraptions. And we've also really lucked out because we've also got an end ship spawned as well. And these are basically flying ships. I'll get to that in a second, but yeah, so this is what they look like. I'm not going to go inside and spoil it for you. However, they do consist of these brand new rods known as end rods, and they're basically light sources shaped like rods. And they're pretty cool. They do quite a decent amount of light. They can be placed sideways as well, like so. So they make for good decorations. And you can craft these via a blaze rod and a popped chorus fruit, like so. You get 4 of them. It's pretty cool. Now these end stations are very, very hard to combat because they have a brand new mob inside them known as the shulker, and you'll see them right there. Hideous sounding things. They shoot these tracking projectiles which, although slow, will follow you to the ends of the earth. And once they hit you, they'll give you the levitation effect, which you might not think is too bad. They're fighting each other. Let's not look at that. But yeah, it throws you up in the air and drops you, so you get dealt with full damage, which makes for a really interesting dynamic when exploring these dungeons, because obviously they are dungeons that are very tall and such. So yeah, you've got to kind of navigate your way up here with parkour and stuff. I don't want to go too far into this, but yeah, it's pretty nifty. So yeah, these shulkers are pretty deadly. So you're going to want some good gear when you take over this place. There's of course Enderman as well. But yeah, there's some good loot, some ender chests, and some really good stuff. Now there's also these generated structures that spawn, sometimes with or without the city. And basically, there are little tiny dungeons with loot, and they have brewing stands, obsidian, and this bad boy, which is called the Elytra. Now I'm going to get into this in a second, but this is probably my favourite thing in the entire update. Look at this loot. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Diamonds and diamond. Oh man, makes hunting down these ships like super worth it. Now on the end of these ships, you actually have an ender dragon head, so the people or alien species or whatever actually hunted down these ships. Obviously, killed ender dragons for a living, because you can get their head, and of course, in good Minecraft fashion, you can wear the head. And a little interesting fact: if you have some redstone power and you apply it to the dragon head, his mouth will move up and down like a puppet, which is a little interesting. Do some fun stuff with that. Now back to the Ender Dragon fight. So there are some more changes and tweaks to the end. Now you can respawn the Ender Dragon with these new player-made crystals. You just have to put 4 in a row like that, and voila, a new Ender Dragon will spawn. It respawns all the regular crystals like so. Oh, this is so cool. I've never actually seen this. Oh, that is so cool. Regenerating him. Oh my goodness. And voila, you got another Ender Dragon to fight. So earlier I mentioned how our little Ender Dragon, she can breathe dragon breath all over you and hurt you in that way. Well, check this out. So obviously this damages you, but this dragon breath, you can actually just collect it because it lingers around. So you can scoop up this dragon breath like so, and you actually get dragon's breath in a jar, which obviously you cannot drink it. It's more of a collection item if you're a bit of a collector. Now, if you want to remember her by before you kill her. Now you can't drink it. What you can do with this dragon breath is use it to create your own potions that linger on the ground. So a massive change has happened to brewing stands. You now need fuel to run a brewing stand, and that fuel is in the form of blaze powder, so you have to do that. Which in my mind is a bit too little too late, because brewing stands have been around for 3 years, and if they wanted to do this they should have. But it does make sense when you think about it. It should really use some fuel. But yeah, so brewing stands work like so. You get a splash potion, or you can just use anything like normal. Some of the recipes have been tweaked a little, so you might want to go on the wiki and look that up. But yeah, to make a lingering potion, which lingers around much like the dragon breath, you simply use dragon's breath on a splash potion, and you will create a new type of explosive bomb. So, and voila, you'll have a lingering potion, and these things are pretty cool. You throw it, and voila, there it is, it lingers around. So if you're taking damage, you can run over there, get your instant health, and run out. So it's like a little temporary charging station, so to speak, which is pretty cool. Now, on to the cream de la crop, my favourite update feature of this entire thing, and that is the Elytra. So this is definitely hands down the coolest feature / new mechanic in the game, and that is the Elytra, which you find on the end ships. And this thing is basically a glider That is right. A glider. If you jump, you can glide in Minecraft. Finally. Some air travel. And it is so cool. Obviously, there is velocity and all that jazz. But it's good for, you know, negating / getting rid of fall damage. And all sorts. It's so cool, so useful. So many interesting things you can do with it. Now, if you fly into something, you will take damage. So keep that in mind. And the faster you go, the more damage is dealt. The higher you fall, the more damage is dealt. So keep that in mind as you're flying about in your new Minecraft 1.9 updates. Whoa! Whoa, you just saw that, how that saved my life. And you can just fly around in caves. Oh, it's so cool. Now, I'm bound to have missed some small minor tweaks, so those will be in the description down below if you just follow that link. So yeah, enjoy flying around in your new elytras in Minecraft 1.9. I hope you guys enjoy the update and enjoyed this video. Found it informative, etc, etc. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys around.